So you purchased a Link EMS plug-and-play kit from PanicMade. I've decided to make a how-to video going over the basics of what is included with the kit, what you'll need that might not be included with your kit, and how to install in this video. So pay attention, we'll be going over everything. As you see here, I have most of the kit laid out. First included is your actual patch harness. This will plug and play into the stock harness and adapt from the stock harness to the Link. We are using a FuryX, which has 2 connectors. Most will be the actual Monsoon, which will be a single connector. Ours also supports onboard wideband, drive-by-wire, and has a few extra digital outputs or inputs and extra connectors because of so. A wideband is a very needed thing. So this is a wideband sensor. This is a Bosch 4.9 LSU or LSU 4.9. Since we have an onboard controller in our box, we just need the sensor and the plug, and the ECU does everything else. External sensors will be mounted, or external controllers will be usually something like the AEM X series or the Link CAN gauge, or CAN wideband, CAN lambda as it's also known. And these will communicate over the CAN bus system into the Link ECU. The reason you need this is without proper monitoring of your air to fuel ratio, you have no idea whether you're rich, lean, or otherwise. Moving on, we have a couple other sensors. Since this car is a 2001, it comes with a MAF or mass airflow, and we will be switching to a version of speed density based off volumetric efficiency known as MGP or manifold gauge pressure. So this is modeled fueling, and this will be real-time volumetric efficiency based fueling. I know it's big words. I'm going to break it down so it's nice and simple to be understood. What that means is we will be converting from a mass airflow to a MAP sensor. MAP is an acronym that stands for Manifold Absolute Pressure. So in other words, this gets plumbed in behind the throttle body and monitors any pressure or vacuum post throttle body. Mark and the guys at Panic make a very nice plug and play, so you don't have to actually run any wire. This plugs into where the mass airflow sensor went and converts it into a MAP sensor. It also includes an air intake temp sensor. This is critical because without proper air temperature, you can't calculate air density. Air density matters. Moving on, we come down and we have this, which is an oil and or oil pressure and temperature sensor. This has a adapter to go into British pipe thread BPT, which is what all Toyotas use for their oil pressure sensor. So this will go in place of the original pressure switch on the car. As these cars did not come with a true sensor, it is an on and off switch to turn on the dash light. Moving on, we have a fuel pressure sensor, or transducer if you want to call it that. This will monitor fuel pressure as it's fed from the pump up to the rail. And anytime fuel pressure drops while driving, the ECU can see the drop and correct by adding in pulse width to the injectors to make sure that the engine does not run lean, or if it gets into a dangerous pressure, it can actually trigger a check engine light, a warning light, or rev limit the engine to bring it down safely into an area where it's not as dangerous. Going on with the wideband. Now the reason you see this stuff here is this right here is a bung for threading into the exhaust. This will need to be drilled and welded into the exhaust so that this sensor can be added. We have vacuum line and a T to go post throttle body so that we can add the map sensor. Now that we've gone over the basics of what's included with most of the kits and what's needed with widebands and tuning and ECU, we're going to get into the install. For installing this, you will need to remove the entire lower dash from here all the way over and the center console. It sounds involved, but it's not that bad. It's just a bunch of 10 millimeters and Phillips head screws. It comes apart fairly quick, but it actually takes probably 30 to 40 minutes. So let's get on that and see how fast I can do it. All right. To begin, we'll start with, you're going to need a 10 millimeter 6-inch extension and a 3/8 inch ratchet. You will also need a Phillips head screwdriver, preferably JIS screwdriver if you have one like this. We will start at the glove box. There are 3 screws along the top. You will remove those. 3. And after that, you'll come down here to your side sills and pop your side sill up. They just pull up. They're held in with snap clips. 3 clips, like so. Then you come over to this. This is your passenger kick wheel, and it's held on with a little plastic nut up here. You can usually undo it by hand. If not, 12 or 11 millimeter. And it's held on right there with a little plastic nut. So now we're at the point where we can get to the 10 millimeters holding everything together. There is one down here in this corner and one over here in this corner. Now we move over to the driver's side. On the driver's side, we start off by removing the sill as like we did on the passenger side. Just work your fingers under and pull up. And she comes off. Same with the kick panel. Now we're ready to drop the underdash for this. Same thing, 2 10 millimeters. Then the plastic comes off. Now, come on. Once the plastic piece is off, there's an OBD2 port and the hood pop. We're going to leave those for right now because we're not going to be messing with them. There is a metal shield. This is to keep your knees from going into the steering column and electronics in the event of a wreck. I would recommend putting this back in unless you're going hardcore off track or off-road on track. We still have it in because we actually need the weight to be legal. So it's held in with 2 10 millimeter bolts right at the top. And then to remove, just grab, lift up, and it comes off the tabs. Let's hop back over to the passenger side. We're going to take the glove box out now. To do this, just grab and wiggle her out. There's your glove box out. From here, you need to remove the center console. For manuals, you'll have to remove the shift knob and the shift boot. Actually, the knob. For all vehicles, there's 2 12 millimeter bolts down in the actual bottom of the cubby box, and then 2 Phillips head screws. We don't have those in this. It's just set in place, so we can just easily pull this out. But if you've never had yours apart, that's where it will be. 2 12 millimeter bolts at the bottom of the cubby box and 2 on the side. So center console up and out. Mother help! In the next part, there's 2 screws up here in the very corner of this. Those will have to come out, and the center console will have to come, the center bezel will have to come out as well. Come on. Oh, it's pulling everything off. I can't get this lower section to come apart. It's just clipped in. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Thank you. and then that's out. All right, so there are normally 4 screws holding all this in.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really.
There's one. And then the heavy box comes out. And ta-da! Now you can see the ECU. This is where the ECU is located on the factory Corolla for the 8th generation. I know most of y'all are asking, but why can't I just pull this stuff out? The problem is this trim piece is in the way to get to the ECU plugs below this. And to get this out, you have to remove both sides and the rear. So there's 2 screws up here on the sides. And after those screws, just pull back, pop it out from up here. There we go. There we go. That's out. Now we can actually remove the ECU. To remove your ECU, you will have 3 bolts. Like, I can't. They're in there, right? Get that one. There we go. Cool. And now the ECU is out. And now, after you have that out, the next thing you want to do is locate your patch harness. So we've got some goodies we'll have to route through the firewall. This will have to go through the firewall, but this will connect in to the stock wiring harness. Connect. And just like that. Since we're running accessories and we have expansions, we will take our expansion harness and we will plug that in as well. And now we will route these through the firewall, then to the engine bay. And now that the patch harness is plugged in, you can come back and plug in the ECU. A and B looms are keyed so they can only go in one way, so you can't mess this up. Clicked in just like that. The next thing you want to install is your tuning cable, because you will need that to locate your bag with the tuning cable. Let's go ahead and open that up. This is something that you can leave permanently installed if you want, or if you want to remove it once finished, you can do that as well. We will likely load everything, set up everything, and then possibly change with Wi-Fi later on. So for this, you locate on your ECU the tuning port. It will be the one side port with the little orange ring on it, and the cable is indexed, so it can only go in one way. So you line your pins up and then screw it into place. For right now, since we're going to be doing startup, I'm going to leave the interior out, and we will put it back together after we have confirmed everything is started, running, and functional. So next up, you want to move out into the engine bay. Say hi, Lennon.
What's up?
I was expecting you to actually say hi, Lennon.
Why would I say hi to my own name?
We moved out into the bay. Here's say hi, Lennon.
Hi, Lennon.
You want to locate the wiring harness, which is going to be this right here. This is your main wiring harness. And as much as I hate doing it, but for right now, you want to make a small slit on the side or the bottom.
Easier method probably gonna be the side.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get
Just a small, because it's rubber, it will stretch. And this will allow us to pass our wideband connector and more through. And then we will come back and reseal and tape up properly. Okay, so next up we're going to route some of the wiring. Locate any extras that are getting routed through, like the wideband. Follow the stock wiring harness as Lennon is doing right here. I know it's kind of hard to see. Back up there. it's going to come through on the firewall side. Then moving back out into the bay, we can actually start routing our sensor wiring. Pull this through and get these where they're needed. So this is going to go to the front of the block. We can also go ahead and hook up this into a plug right down here for it, like so. And that converts your mass airflow plug into a map sensor. You will need to mount this in the intake, which we've got an interesting project working on that right now. And then this will need to be mounted preferably somewhere along here, where you can mount it back here, up here, anywhere you can get a good spot, good bolt hole located, and then run from post throttle body up into this. And after you get all the wiring installed, you want to move out into the engine bay and start wiring up the sensors and mounting them. Things like your map sensor, your wideband, which you can see the connector, IAT, the fuel pressure sensor, which is down there, and then you have, I'll have to get it down here, right up here, right above the oil. You'll see a brand new sensor. Ta-da! There it is. And that is a combo pressure and oil temp sensor. Okay, now after you have everything plugged in, all your sensors ran, come in, put your keys in, plug into your laptop. You'll hear it ding and connect. Then you're going to go in and you're going to open the G5 G4X software. Turn your key to the on position. You'll hear your fans kick on, that's normal. Select the ECU. Hit OK. It'll say, this ECU is disabled. That's okay. Now, go up to ECU controls. Unlock ECU. And enter your code. This is a one-time use code, so it doesn't matter that you can see it. This code will also be found in your email from Link Unlock.
Accepted.
Cool. And that's that. Or go to connect. It's up under ECU controls.
Open that ECU.
Yes. Now you're connected.
It says online, but it says you should log off. Settings and light. Active.
Your check engine light would be up here.
It's not on there.
Now we need to calibrate the map.
And then Control S. Stored.
Yep. And then calibrate TPS.
Navigate to TPS, which is under electronic throttle. So open that. Throttle 1. Throttle 1 is set up. It does not show throttle position sensor. I don't have throttle position sensor.
It's
It says e-throttle 1 setup, and then it's supposed to have throttle position sensor and then accelerator position sensor. I don't have any of that.
it should have a little locked icon. May I? Here. So set your throttle to come down and select this.
Good, this one just says
E-throttle setup. GPS setup.
this picture is different.
Depress the throttle to fully open.
Alright, go ahead. Alright, open.
Fully.
I'm still holding. And then I'm off.
That is calibrated.
And then control S. That's it, yeah. And then the last thing is accelerator position sensor, which I don't know if I have that.
We're not set up for drive-by-wire. Okay, quick little edit. So now that you've reached this point in the installation, I want to cover a couple things that you're going to need to know. One, this is a point where you're going to need to have your tuner present because there are going to be certain calibration things that need to be gone over and verified before you even attempt a first start right now. It's things like making sure that your fuel pump trigger and settings for that are correct, making sure that the actual calibration for the trigger wheel in the engine and the cam sync is correct, making sure that the dwell for the actual coils and whatnot are also correct. The next step, once confirming these settings are correct, is you will actually hook up a timing light to cylinder number 1. You will lock your ignition timing at something like 10 degrees depending on your engine, and then you will crank while firing the trigger light or the timing light at the crank pulley and watch the indicator and make sure that 10 degrees matches on that as it does in the ECU. This is referred to as syncing the timing. Once the timing is synced properly, you can then go back and actually enable the rest of the features like injectors, fuel pumps, all that stuff, and actually go for your first start. This is to prevent there being any kind of discrepancies between what the ECU thinks is 10 degrees and what reality 10 degrees actually is. Basically, you're just confirming that if it says it's firing at 10 degrees, it really is firing at 10 degrees. Timing is synchronized, fuel pump and everything has been confirmed, all the calibrations are done. Let's give it a full first start.
Hell yeah.
Undeniable supply of heat, dropping the truth. Hot rubber, smoky haze, serving the glaze. FA500, snow tipping, RT660, stay, grip it, strap, beat, hit it. Cool top, Sunday cup, grandma car, better think twice. My victory, tighter than a vice. Sticky ice cream, banana splitting them cheeks. EST 2001, 8th generation freaks. ABS, TCS, where they at? Nowhere. Always in the Fuji war zone, finna set the tone. If you wait first, you're last. Pack your shit, you're on blast. Slip angle AE110, 1cc. The only oil burning is the lube in you. You snooze, you lose. Cool top, Sunday cup, grandma car, better think twice. My victory, tighter than a vice. Sticky ice cream, banana splitting the cheeks. EST 2001, 8th generation freaks. Ain't no paper roller, them heads be spinning all posse'd up. Hit me on the track, wheeling and dealing. 4-door, gonna put you all on the stake and burn you in more doors. Superstar on tour, grid like 2024. AT out of CH, out of loop, through and through in the 502. Always hustling, try to true. Didn't spend 4 G's on 4 G's, multiplied into 4 mil. Let's stock bill of lanes, rolling in jazzies and fits. Let me tell ya, I'm a misfit. See me on the list, they forfeit. Act quit, submit. I throw bodies in the pit. A new kid is on the block, buckle up and keep it on the line. lot, gonna bring the epoch. Like an eclipse whack, monster truck fitting it whack. E-soft serve in a cup whack. King of flavor, chocolate drizzle on a wafer cone. Slipping against your favor, dropping like a pine cone. Tell the Sonic drive-through lady I want cherries on top. Podium life, trophy wife, everything else is trife. Coupe top Sunday cup, grandma car, better think twice. My victory tighter than a vice.